Williams Fox.
Recording in progress.
I'll try that again. Our guest speaker today is Sonia Williams Fox. And I will be reading her bio. My apologies for reading, but it's a really great bio and I don't want to forget anything. So first and foremost, I'd like to quote from her CV. "My main goal is to contribute to the improvement of education, including the social and emotional aspects of learning as an integral part of the school curriculum, from preschool to high school. This improves academic performance and the well-being of students and teachers." And as the daughter of a teacher, I just think that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. My father taught secondary school. Ms. Fox is a highly qualified professional in emotional education and educational management with extensive experience both in management roles and in consulting and training in various institutions. She holds a postgraduate degree in emotional education and well-being from the University of Barcelona, Spain. She has had an outstanding career in the design and implementation of innovative emotional education and school climate programs. And I just realized I am speaking too quickly. My apologies. I have had a lot of Coca Cero today. Ms. Fox's current activities include advisor and content referrer in the area of school climate and emotional education in the social impact organization Somos Red. She is the founding partner of the International Network of Emotional Education and Wellbeing, academic director of the postgraduate course in emotional education and school climate at the Universidad Católica Argentina, UCA, external advisor to the Ministry of Education of the City of Buenos Aires in emotional education, trainer in emotional education, this is a really long bio, trainer in emotional education, school climate, school and student well-being, and in the design of emotional education programs. She's written books and articles, given conferences, seminars, and workshops in different provinces of our country in Uruguay, Chile, and Mexico. And let me tell you, I edited this CV down. So this is not everything by a long shot. Today's topic is the importance of emotional education in schools. Ms. Fox, please.
Thank you. I move around a little bit, so I need to hold it in my hand, if you don't mind. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Special thank you to you all and for this great invitation. I really feel honored to be here. And it's for me a great chance to share my work, basically. I've been in emotional education for now 27 years. So it's my passion, it's my professional goal, and as you read out loud, it's the need that I have to improve or to contribute to the improvement of the education in Argentina. But I've always been connected to schools. My first career was a psychologist, educational psychologist. And I worked in hospitals and I did different things. But I went into education since I was, well, when I finished school. I started as a helper in a kindergarten. And since then, I've always been connected to school. I retired 2 years ago from a bilingual school in the southern area. And I was overall head there. So I've been head of kindergarten, head of primary, overall, and I've kept on connected to schools. How many of you are connected or have been, yes, connected to education? Wow. Wow, I know some of you. Cristina from St. Andrews, okay. Penny, where's Penny? There, Penny Ortner, okay. Denise, also, ESARP. Well, it's nice to be here. And the idea is to share a bit of the importance, it's a short presentation, so the main ideas I think are important, and if you're interested, I can give you some ideas of books that you can read to carry on reading. There's a lot in English. There's not so much in Spanish, but there's a lot in English, so that's an advantage. Gracias. So here we go. The idea is that we exchange a little bit, and no, it's not a lecture. Well, ¿lo tengo que prender con algo? No avanza. A ver. Espera. ¿No lo puedo hacer yo? No, vas para atrás. Si no, conecto el mío, si quieres. Bueno, ¿lo haces vos? A ver. Ahí está. Great. Thank you. I want to start with this. Just a couple of minutes to think about a young person in your lives. And what do you hope they will learn and be able to do to prepare for the world of tomorrow? So just think of a young person and share with your table, people in your table, about this question and see what comes up, what ideas come up, okay? Just for a couple of minutes, yes? I know you have pen and pencil, so if you want to just jot ideas down and then share, no problem. You don't need to write down, it's just for you to think, for you to be able to exchange and see if your ideas. Right. Oi, sorry. Okay. Any ideas that came up? Whatever, whatever. Yes. Yes. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay. Okay, I think we'll carry on. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Any ideas that you'd like to share about this question? Just whatever came up. Okay. Find your purpose. Yes, good. Thank you. Penny, whatever, or you, sorry.
Common themes at our table were communication and balance, and particularly communication regarding rational thought, but also regarding emotional, and the balance of the two came up in a lot of
Good,
conversation.
great, thank you. Yes,
I think you have to be adaptable.
okay,
Change every 5 minutes. You have to be adaptable and learn to go with the flow.
yes. What was the comment? That's for us, okay, yeah. Good, yes, Penny.
This group talked about, on one hand, intellectual skills that need to be developed and updated and changed as time goes by and updated according to the times we live in, and also very human skills, very emotional and human skills to get on with yourself and get on with the other person as well as possible in this ever-changing world. In a nutshell.
Thank you. I like the ever-changing world, yes, we are in an ever-changing world. Any other ideas? Yes, over there.
I have this theory in my mind from neurological, brain development stages. 35 years, I think it's more than what the parents, the adults, prepare to give before, for example, the children is hungry, so that they can go and get the food. But they were all kind of spoon-fed, including education. And I probably need to go back. The first stage that they need is to feel hungry, to look for. It's some kind of pre-made survival skill. Before going into the more probably complex emotional, it's somehow, I think it's important. Sorry. You heard?
Yes, yes, I think we all did, no? Yes.
It's hello. It's working? Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, we
You
could hear
heard.
her.
Yeah, it's a basic survival skill.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Litty, you had something to share?
We were imagining a terrifying world, really. We're pretty scared about what our kids are going to be needing to do in the future. So we focus more on skills, emotional skills, as you say, resilience, empathy, working together, creativity. I don't know, we imagine something very, very awful, really. What can I say?
Yes. I don't know if awful, I would say awful. It's different, challenging,
Yes.
ever-changing. I like that. Volatile means nothing is really stable. No. Change is what is the norm, yes. And this of being flexible or adaptable, yes, adapt to different situations is very, very important today. But the idea is that I was asked, to share where are we today with the different worldwide, different organizations and what they have researched for many, many years and what do they tell us that the skills that they need, okay? World Health Organization. So look at the top 10 core life skills they recommend. We start, yes, with problem solving, critical thinking, effective communication skills, you mentioned these, decision making. There's something I'd like to say about decision making. We think it's very rational, that we take decisions rationally. Well, no, it's emotional. Creative thinking, interpersonal relationship skills, self-awareness, building skills, empathy, coping with stress, coping with emotions. Does anybody disagree with this? No, no, but there are many, okay? Well, yes, coping with emotions. Frustration is an emotion, okay? When it says coping with emotions, it's general, with all the emotions, and then I'll tell you how many we have. Okay. The Inter-American Development Bank, yes, launched this study, and they looked into the top 10 skills. And number 1, mindfulness. Have you heard of mindfulness? Okay. Empathy and compassion. Self-efficacy, self-determination. Problem solving, cognitive, teamwork, and interpersonal. Critical thinking, again. Goal orientation and goal completion. Grit. You know, grit. Grit. Angela Duckworth is a researcher. She's very well known. And she talks about grit as passion plus determination. Okay? It's being, persistence is also, but she gives the ingredient of the passion to be able, to strive in life. You need passion and determination. I think, is that what you have here? No? A lot of passion and determination. Resilience, you mentioned resilience, stress resistance, self-awareness, purposefulness, self-regulation or self-control or emotion regulation. There are different ways of naming it, yes, but it is how we manage our emotions. The emotions are there, they have a purpose in our lives. We are emotional beings, yes, it's what our main characteristic is as human beings, is the emotional dimension, yes, of our being. Okay, let's see somebody else. The OECD, yes, the Organization for Economic and Cooperation Development. They also, yes, took out this study called Skills for Social Progress. And they mention, basically they're all more or less the same. There's some differences. They include the task management, in the sense, the effort and persistence, very important. Actually, that is a skill that is more important than the IQ. We know now, IQ is not as important as this skill, okay? You can be high or have a high IQ, but if you don't have these skills, yes, of putting effort, passion, determination, persistence in what you're doing, you're not going to get as far as somebody else that doesn't have, such a high IQ, but yes, has these characteristics. And probably you can think, or I think of my colleagues at school, you know, and how many were high? I looked at them, very high IQs. But what happened with their lives? Okay, probably that doesn't help as much as having other skills. Okay, emotional regulation, collaboration, open-mindedness. This is important, no? Curiosity, creativity, how to foster that in schools. Engaging with others, sociability, assertiveness, and other outcomes like achievement, motivation, self-efficacy. So some are very much the same like the others, okay? But as you can see, there are many, many different skills. Now, I'm sure you all know about UNESCO's Sustainable Development Goals, yes? And these goals were thought in 2015, no? Thinking of what will the world need in 2030, okay? And these that I've pointed out here, no? Number 3, they urge the countries to work for this, for good health and well-being. So well-being is something that is coming up in education quite a lot lately, okay? There's a lot of research in the importance of well-being in schools. But traditionally, our schools have not focused on that, okay? They have focused on something different. Quality in education is another goal, yes, to be looking at. And we can discuss what quality in education means. But today, yes, a factor of quality in education has to do with working, including the emotional aspects of learning, not only the cognitive aspects, okay, which our schools in generally have focused on. The educational system has focused on that, yes. One I'll tell you later on. And number 16 has to do with peace, justice, and strong institutions. So how do we work for peace and justice? Does emotional education have to do with this a little bit? Yeah, I think so, okay? I think so. So, CASEL is an organization in the States, United States. It's very well known. It must have 30, 35 years in existence. It's called Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. And they have this framework which they've been changing throughout the years, but basically they mention these 5 broad interrelated areas of competence, okay? One has to do with self-awareness. Self-awareness is so important to teach this skill in schools, okay? It's important for our lives, okay? Being aware of who you are, getting to know yourself, okay? So this is very, very important. Understand our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts, our values, and how they influence behavior across the context. Emotions are embedded in context, okay? In our cultural context, in the school context, okay? So this is also an important aspect of emotions. Self-management is what we read before about self-control or emotional regulation. This has to do with that, okay? How to manage all our emotions. Difficult, but we need to teach different strategies for ourselves, yes, as teachers, as adults in a school environment. We need, yes, these skills. Teachers are role models all the time. Students look up to us, okay? And teachers need to understand this, that they need to start working on their self-management skills, yes. Right. Self-management also helps us to achieve our goals. This that we were talking before of persistence, resilience has to do with this. Social awareness, another core skill. And here we include the understanding of different perspectives, so important, and empathize with others, including those from diverse backgrounds. How to connect with others. The first thing is to connect with ourselves. If we connect with ourselves and we develop these skills of self-awareness, we will be, yes, better skilled to connect with others. So there are, I see in schools the difficulty, of being aware of the other's needs. And it's me, and what about the others? And when we talk about, yes, we want to collaborate and we need students to work in teams, do we teach them how? Not really. Not in many schools, okay? I'm not talking of all the schools because that would not be fair, okay? I know bilingual schools have developed a lot of these and they have different programs, but I've worked a lot, yes, in disadvantaged communities, in state schools, and they don't learn these skills, okay? They learn a lot, but not this. And this is quite global. That's why there's a great movement into where are we now and how can we go ahead, yes, to help schools to develop these skills. Relationship skills, establish and maintain healthy, supportive relationships and effectively navigate settings with diverse individuals or groups. And the last one, responsible decision-making. Make caring and constructive choices about personal behavior and social interactions across diverse situations. So this is CASEL. CASEL does a lot of research, and they have designed many, many programs for schools, okay? And it's very interesting. The very serious, great experts work in this organization. So emotions and feelings. There is a little difference between emotions and feelings, okay? But they're like our GPS, okay? They help us. They are, what are they? They are responses to different situations, to stimuli from our world, from what is happening. Now, here, there are different, yes, stimuli that you are receiving from the one beside you, in front of you, from me, yes. So these, every day, at all times, yes, emotions are letting us know how we are feeling. And they help us focus also on opportunities, but also on threats. They serve, yes, to our survival. And this has to do with what in that table the lady over there mentioned, yes. There are some emotions that are called basic emotions that help for our survival, that then we'll look at them later on. They help us to orient us, provide information, and help us to make better decisions. But we can only connect with our emotions and our feelings if we have self-awareness. So all programs around the world that have to do with social emotional learning skills start with a basic skill that is self-awareness. In Spanish, you would talk about conciencia emocional, okay? In English, it's more self-awareness, right? So, emotions and feelings. There are 6 basic survival emotions, and which we bring when we are born, okay, which have to do with survival, okay, and they help us, yes, live. And these are, do you know, anybody seen Intensamente, the film? You remember some of them? Let's see. What are the basic skills? Anger, happiness. No, anxiety is secondary emotion. It's not a basic one. You're not born with that. Fear, yes, fear. What else? Sadness, yes, another one. Disgust, okay? When we eat something that is not right, we spit it out, okay? That's survival, okay? Sorry? No, I thought you had a question.
Sorry, I didn't understand. I got to survival and fear. And then the next one.
They're all for survival. These basic emotions come with you when you are born, okay? Fear, happiness, sadness, okay? Joy, happiness, okay? No, sadness, yes. Right? Okay? We'll carry on with this later on, okay? Anger. Anger is a survival skill, okay? And disgust, yes. Okay? Yeah. Right, so we need emotions, yes. These basic emotions, yes, are there, they're always there. And when the baby starts interacting with the world, feelings start acquiring a different dimension because the cognitive aspect starts helping them to understand how to relate with the world, how to relate with others, okay? And in the exchange, social exchange, yes, we start developing other skills, yes, and other emotions that basically have to do with the other. Jealousy, for example, yes? Or, well, anxiety is also a feeling, not so much an emotion. But really, when you read books, yes, they mention emotions and feelings like synonyms, okay? But for the ones who are emotion scientists, there is a distinction, okay? Just for you to know. Right. I discovered this incredible scientist, Mary Eleni Mordino-Young, 2008. She's an educator, and she's a neuroscientist, an affective neuroscientist. And she works with Antonio Damasio. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a very renowned neuroscientist, okay? And this paper came out, We Feel, Therefore We Learn, was incredible. It was the first time that I connected the dots between the cognitive aspects of learning and the emotional aspects of learning, okay? As a psychologist, I said, wow. I said, eureka, this is the way we have to go and look into this. And in her paper, she's got a book. Yes? The link between cognitive and emotional. Okay, the neurobiologically connected, okay? They're connected in the brain. Emotion and cognition are two sides of the same coin, to put it in a way. Now we know that, yes? So the good thing about education and neuroscience is that neuroscience is telling us we can't separate emotion from cognition, okay? Learning has to do with emotion. We feel, therefore we learn. If we don't feel motivated, if we don't feel okay at school, if we're worried, if we're disappointed, if we're angry, we're not going to learn. We'll hang on in school. Yes, days will carry on, but we will not learn. And children sometimes having tough times in school that have to do with different things, yes? Family issues, learning disabilities, whatever, you name it. But if there's no well-being in their self, okay, they will have a lot of difficulty to learn. So this is a call for schools to really take this seriously. They need to develop programs to work in these skills to be able to help the children, yes, academically perform, which is what schools want, yes, but if we don't work, yes, and plan and implement programs that work with this, we'll be, yes, repeating more of the same. Schools need something different. The world is a difficult, yes, context, and they need to acquire these skills urgently. So she says that learning is dynamic, social, it's context dependent, because emotions are, and emotions form a critical piece of how, what, when, and why people think, remember, and learn. So her work is amazing. She delivers lectures at universities, schools. I mean, as an educator, she's got this passion. She needs to get this message across, okay? Social and emotional skills and academic success. So now we know there is a connection, yes, between the social and emotional skills and the student outcomes and the performance as students in schools. So it's not only schools not only need, yes, to look into the academic performance, which is important, and all the cognitive skills, which obviously are very important, but now we know that beyond the cognitive skills, we need to start working with the social and emotional skills, because they support learning. If teachers also, I'm not only talking about students, okay, but teachers also need to feel, yes, that they have the skills to cope, okay, in the classroom. Communication skills, conflict resolution. How do we deal with communication skills, with conflict? Do we teach children? I can tell you that teachers don't know how to do this very much. But when you start working with them, yes, in their professional development, they say, oh, great. This is good for me as a teacher and for me as a person. These are life skills. How come I haven't learned this before? And I've said this to myself, no? How come I haven't learned this before? When I started into this world of emotions, I said, well, right, and I'm still learning, eh? This is still learning. There's a lot to learn. So, academic performance plus, okay, well-being plus social skills, emotional skills. Yes? Do you agree with this?
No.
Okay.
In India, Korea, Japan, and China, we're not talking about emotions. We're talking about you get down, you study, because your parents expect it, your society expects it.
That's a context embedded, yes.
How come they are top students in the United States, and there's no emotion involved?
In the United States, yes, there are, yes. Of course, and we've all gone to school and we've performed, yes, but at what cost? At what cost? With a lot of stress, yes, and that is not what we're looking for, okay? Everything, yes. Yes, you can. Are you in a school?
I'm a lawyer, and I
Are, You're a lawyer and you're full of emotions. You are full of emotions. Yes? Okay, yes.
One difference. You may say that emotions are not related. You may say it, but that may not reflect the fact. Because although you don't speak about emotion, you don't name them, they are there.
Of course.
They are in your amygdala, and you cannot take the amygdala out of your brain. So it's a fact.
They're in the limbic system. Yes. Sorry, just to round off the idea, sorry. They're in the emotions are processed in our limbic system, which we all have, okay? And it's there for a reason, and the limbic system is connected to the prefrontal cortex, which is the lobe, yes, in our brain that processes all the cognitive skills. But those cognitive skills, yes, are connected with the emotional limbic system. The amygdala, as she says, is a little structure in the brain, yes, that is like the alarm of our house, or the alarm of our car. It has to do with survival. It's the little structure, yes, that when something provokes or threatens our lives, the amygdala reacts, okay, and puts all the body ready to react. That's survival skill, okay? So amygdala, yes, and the amygdala keeps the emotional memories of our experiences in life, okay? So if I ask you, to think of an emotional situation that has been difficult in your life, it'll take seconds for you to bring it up in your mind. That's because it's there. It's in the amygdala. It's in this little structure in the brain, okay? I could go into more neurobiological, yes, circuit information, but it's not the aim of this lecture, so I'll carry on. This is, yes, sorry.
I'm very interested with what you say about the emotional connection, but I do think you're leaving something very important out. And that is that students connect when they're interested in what the teacher is saying. I remember that I was passionately interested in French when I was 8 years old because of my father. But the teacher had no interest in that, and I killed myself to learn, and I only got a 3 every year, every time I had her in class. I changed schools, and I had another teacher, and I was passionately interested in French, and she spoke to us in French, and my French developed. But it was not emotional, it was interest.
But it is emotional.
It was a teacher who didn't care.
Yes, but it was yes, but this is very complex because it's not only you and your interest and your motivation and the drive you had, okay? Interest, motivation is very important in schools, okay? But it's also the context, what I was saying before. In one school, you're able to, yes, develop this drive that you had an interest in, and in one school, no, and the other school, yes. So this has to do with the relationship with the teacher, okay?
It doesn't. The teacher saw that some students were interested.
Okay, but it's,
Therefore, she spoke to those students who were interested.
okay,
But the other teacher didn't care who was interested.
okay, but it's the teacher's emotions that are in play, okay? But it's also the student's emotions, okay?
If at all possible, if we can hold more of our conversation until
Okay.
after the presentation is done, that will help our speaker finish.
Great. Okay, thank you. So when I mentioned Castle, remember? Yes? Castle started off many, many years ago with the basic 5 course, but then they realized, yes, that they had to have a more holistic approach to it. And they had to look into, yes, what happened not only in the instruction and the climate in the classroom, but also they had to look at the school what was happening in the school. And they had to also look at families, okay? How they were connected with the families and how families connected to the school. Research says that when families connect with the school and they participate, the academic performance goes higher up. Yes, they perform better, the students. But there are also schools, that look for opportunities outside the school, in their community. So now, yes, social emotional learning has a systemic, approach. And this is why I like the concept of emotional education, because it is holistic. It is working not only with the students, it's working with the teachers, the classroom climate, the school climate, and the school as part of a community. So this is the way to go, in my belief, okay, when we talk about social emotional learning. It's not only the skills for the children, it's a lot of teacher development, yes, teacher training, a lot, but teachers don't know about this. Yes, they're trained, yes, at least here in Argentina. Not yet, they're not trained into this, so this is important. But we also have to help head teachers from schools, because they are responsible for the school climate. The teachers are responsible for the classroom climate, but the head teachers are responsible for the school climate. And the connection of the school with the outer community. So this is, one implements programs, one can design programs, or one can pick a program that is already, yes, designed, but one has to start building this foundation in the school, implementing a program, yes, and improving, evaluating and improving. So this is the way to go. Now, you have paper and you have pencil, okay? Yeah. Okay. Ready? Sí, ¿podés poner? No. Ahí está. Ah, sí, no importa. Estaba, ¿eh? Ahí está, se escucha. Okay, there's a little music in the background. Okay. Charlie, ¿vos tenés reloj? Okay, Charlie's going to help us, okay? He's going to let us know when a minute and a half has gone by, but I'll tell you when to start, and nos avisas cuando pasa 1 minuto y medio, okay? Thank you. What are you supposed to do? Yes, very good. When you're ready, and I'll say go, you have to write emotions and feelings, just the word. If you're not too sure, you can put in front of it, I feel. If you can answer that, that's an emotion or a feeling, okay? Ready, steady, go. Write emotions. Emotion words, yes, emotions. Feelings, emotions. And we'll see the list that comes up. ¿Se escucha, no? La música. No. Vocabulary of emotions. Vocabulary of emotions. No, la música desapareció. Okay, stop. Stop, stop, stop. Can you count? How many? 8? More than 8? 14. More than 14? 16? Anybody more than 17? Great. More than 17? Okay. No? 17? What's your name? Sophia. Well done, Sophia. Well done. Okay. This is just for us to realize that we need to enrich our emotion vocabulary. Okay? Yes? And schools need to work on this. And why is this important? Because when we see a child at school, okay, that is suffering or not having a good time, we can help him or her, yes, understand what is happening deep inside. We can be, yes, we can help the person to put a name the feeling. And if we don't have a vocabulary, an enriched vocabulary in feelings, is how do you feel? Well, not so well. In Spanish it will be bien, mal, okay? This is generally what the answer that we get, okay? And it's not that. We have many emotions. And it's not the same for a child to say, I'm feeling frustrated, than if he says, I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling irritated, or I'm feeling disappointed. It's not the same. Why isn't it the same? Because if he's angry, I'll better do something about it. Okay? I have to see, I have to help. I have to be with the person, yes? With the boy or the girl. Because if he is angry, he will not learn. He will not feel okay at school. And if he's frustrated, we can talk about it and see why. Where is the frustration coming from? Okay? But we need to develop an ample vocabulary of emotional words to describe our inner emotions and feelings, to be able to put words into what we're feeling. Okay. Now, we're going to make this exercise, a scan. We're going to scan. Body, mind, and heart are totally connected. Okay? Emotions are in our body. We feel our emotions. When emotions happen, yes, when we feel angry, what happens in your body when you are angry? I mention angry because it's got a lot of energy. Okay. Do you get angry? Yes, it's a universal feeling, okay, that has to do with survival. And you feel angry when there is basically an injustice, okay? Something unjust has happened, or very, very frustrated, okay? And you feel angry, or you... Sadness is different, okay? It's
Because when a boy sometimes is frustrated, he feels a terrible sadness.
Yes, there are different feelings. You can feel different feelings, okay? But what I want to express here is that emotions are embodied, okay? Our body talks, our facial expressions, yes, express when we're angry, when we're sad, it's different, okay? And we feel it in our body. And there are neurochemicals going on when we have different emotions. So, now, each one of you, what are you experiencing physically, okay? Try and see, yes, look into yourself, your body. What are you feeling? How is your body? How is your face? Are you frowning? Are you smiling? Okay, they all have different expressions. Are you relaxed? Are you feeling tense, tight? How are you? How is your body? Stressed? Bored? Okay. Okay, it is a feeling, yes. What? Okay, this has to do with the body, the mind. What kind of thinking are you doing? This is the mind, okay? Are you focused? Are you distracted? If you're bored, you're probably distracted. Are you evaluating? Are you observing? Yes. Are you thinking of different concepts? And what kind of feelings do you have? Because these are all connected. Yes. Thank you. What you feel, yes, where you feel it in your body, yes, and what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, they're all connected. Okay? And sometimes we don't have the opportunity to stop during our day, to stop and connect. And it's very important to stop some seconds and connect with how we're feeling. And this takes just a few seconds. How am I feeling? If I'm feeling worried, okay, I come up with a word. Where is that feeling connected in my body? Is it my shoulders? Is it my stomach? Is it my head? What? Where? And how? Okay? This gives us the possibility to do something about it. And one of the most incredible things that we can do is breathe with consciousness. Breathing helps us, yes, to connect with how we are, and helps us to relax, yes, and it's just seconds, and it's free. But we sometimes forget about the conscious breathing, and this is what mindfulness has researched, yes, the importance of mindfulness, to being connected with the moment, here. What is happening? What am I feeling? And then I take decisions what to do with it. Okay? Right. Mark, I wanted to present to you Mark Brackett. Mark Brackett is Yale University emotion scientist. Sorry? This is the mood meter. The mood meter is a tool that he and his colleagues, the team in Yale University, okay, developed. They took 100 emotions. I'll tell you later how many more we have, but for the time being, 100, okay? And they've organized this. This is the book. Permission to Feel. Very interesting book. And, well, he and his team organized the emotions in different quadrants, 4 different ones, and with 2 axes, yes, that interconnect. The vertical one has to do with the energy of the feeling, and the other one with a pleasantness, okay? So this is a quadrant with a lot of energy and unpleasantness, okay? And here they've put feelings like enraged, panicked, livid, furious, anxious, angry, tense, nervous, shocked, stunned. You get the idea of the energy of these feelings, okay? The energy is a very high energy, yes. And the incredible thing is that in children, very small children, when they go through these stages of anger, yes, there's a cycle of anger, yes, that starts coming up, gets to a crisis, and then it starts coming down, thank God. Yeah, and some fall asleep. They fall asleep because the energy the body's consumed is so high that they're exhausted, okay? So just for you to think also of your experience or life experience, yes? And when you have felt angry, I'm sure, yes, I have, okay? What happens to you after? You are tired, you are exhausted, okay? So this quadrant is red, okay, with a lot of energy and unpleasantness. This quadrant is also unpleasantness, but the energy is lower, okay? So here we have disgusted, miserable, lonely, depressed, despair, hopeless, desolate, exhausted, tired, bored. Who's bored? There you are, okay? And your energy is low, okay, and it's unpleasant, okay? Sad, discouraged, disappointed. You get the difference in the energy level, no? Okay. Then we move on to the pleasantness, okay? And we have high energy. You can be festive, cheerful, energized, lively, happy, focused, proud, optimistic, inspired, etc., etc., etc. Yes? But then we can also be in the quadrant where we have pleasantness, okay, but the energy is a bit lower, okay? You're calm, at ease, content, loving, satisfied, grateful, restful, peaceful, cozy, etc. So in schools, in education, for the students to be able to learn and be attentive, where do you think it's good for them to be, emotionally speaking? Where? What quadrant? What color? Okay, somewhere along, yes, the yellow and the green, okay, somewhere along this. Definitely if you're here, and if all your students are here, because something has happened. Yes, something has happened, and they're all here. Yes, oh my God. This is the expression, oh my God, okay? Why? Because they won't be able to learn if they're there, okay? So I need, as a teacher, to observe. Yes, Mark Brackett says that we are observers of the emotions of others at school. And we need to change the classroom climate, and we can. But we need to learn the strategies, okay? We can change the climate in the classroom by putting music. If I put an upbeat music, yes, and I have them dancing around and making an exercise, well, everything starts to move. Yes, they connect, they laugh. Movement helps a lot. They energize their body, and that changes. And it's seconds, but you have to know that. Okay? These are the strategies we need as teachers, and also we need for them to know and understand, okay, how they are. So this is Pluchnik, is another very well-known author. Yes, studies emotions. And basically what he does is he puts different emotions, but he works on the intensity, okay? So we can have annoyance, anger, and rage. You see, it's different. The intensity is different, okay? Just for you to see. But joy, anger, sadness, fear, surprise, and disgust are the 6 basic emotions. In the film, Intensamente, they did not put surprise, because surprise is neutral. I mean, you can be surprised for something positive, or you can be surprised by something that is not so good, okay? But it is a basic emotion. And Pluchnik adds 2, trust and anticipation. There are different models of emotions, different authors, okay? But most agree that these 6 emotions are universal, means that all around the world people feel these 6 emotions, and they have a special, yes, facial expression. I can look at a child and see that he is sad. Why? Because his energy is, remember, is low. He doesn't want to talk with anybody. He wants to be alone. Sometimes they get up and they sit in a corner, or they want to leave. That is sadness. Sadness, you want to be with yourself. You don't want to connect with others. Okay? And sadness, yes, when does sadness come? When there's a loss. When you have lost somebody or something that has been very valuable to you, or that you're anticipating a possible loss. There is where sadness comes in, okay? Well, so, emotional education, what is it? It's an integral part of education and human development, the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply knowledge, this goes for Cristina, knowledge, skills and attitudes, right? To develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. Emotional education supports learning environments, classroom and school climate, and student and adult well-being. So for those of us who are working in emotional education, we have a lot to do. We have a lot to do. We can work with the schools, we can work, yes, with teachers, with head teachers, with inspectors, yes, supervisors, okay? There's a lot. Now, Argentina, where are we in this? Thank God, yes, there are some provinces that have their law already. Yes, okay? The first province was Corrientes in 2016. They have a law of emotional education. Then Misiones, 2018. Later on, Jujuy, Chaco, Tucumán. And last year, Cava, yes, City of Buenos Aires. You know, Buenos Aires is divided in province, educationally, no? Province and the City of Buenos Aires. The City of Buenos Aires, yes, took out a law, it's called the abordaje integral, it's holistic approach, okay, to promote well-being. So the ministry in Cava, in the City of Buenos Aires, has a new area where they are working with this. It's really, really new. It's from last year, really December last year, so it's very new, okay? But it's good news. And we have our law, yes, and our law, yeah, educational law, talks about a holistic approach. That's why when sometimes teachers say, but how do I work with emotional education or social emotional learning if my head doesn't want to, or we don't have this at school? Well, there is a law that tells about, yes, educación integral, a holistic approach to education. So there are different ways to go about it, okay? Which are the benefits? Many. Improvement in academic performance, social emotional skills, positive attitudes, positive social behaviors, less conduct problems, emotional agility, well-being, and reduced risk of failure. Working with this is prevention. If we prevent, yes, and if we give them the skills, they will be able to cope with conflict resolution, with bullying, or whatever, okay? Bullying is a consequence of, okay, the lack of these skills. And I tell you, this, as a school, we have to work with families, yes, not only with the families, but work with the teachers, and it's an ongoing process, okay? Susan David is a very nice author from New Zealand, and she has a book called Emotional Agility, which is beautiful, okay? And she says, raising emotional, agile children begins with helping them to show up to all their feelings, including the difficult ones. Yes, we tend to hide push away, neglect our difficult feelings, but we all have them. Okay, I'll tell you now. Rafael Vizcarra, he's from the Barcelona University. He's a specialist in this. He says, yes, he's researched that we have around 500 different emotions. 500. He has a book called The Universe of Emotions. And he has a book with vocabulary of emotions. It's really incredible, okay? So social emotional learning also benefits adults. There's a positive impact on teachers. Teachers with high levels of social competence are better able to protect themselves from burnout. You all know about burnout, no? Okay. Developing and managing nurturing relationships with their students, serving as behavioral role models for children, and regulating their own emotions. Sometimes teachers find it difficult, yes, sometimes in class, to regulate their own emotions. So if they have their skills, it's better for them and for the others. This is Rafael Vizcarra that I was mentioning. He has a different model of emotions, yes, with the skills. He talks about self-awareness, self-regulation, emotional regulation, autonomy. Here we would work on self-esteem, self-efficacy, self-determination, the social competence or skills and skills for life. For example, goal setting or looking for your own well-being. Yes, this is something else that we need. And some years ago, 5 years ago, they started with this RIE, which is the International Network of Emotional Education and Well-Being, which I belong to. And they are working worldwide, yes, spreading the word and helping out communities and schools. So social emotional learning, we have to separate fact from fiction, boosts academic performance and deepens engagement with content. It is not a distraction from academics. Definitely not a distraction. Social emotional learning builds relationships and skills that promote healthy well-being. It is not therapy. This is something that I always mention to teachers. We're not therapists, but we're humans. Okay? It helps students understand different perspectives and share ideas. This has to be planned. We need activities. We need to put them through different, proposals in school. That's why if the school has developed a program, yes, you go through all the different skills, giving them, different opportunities to share, to exchange, to listen with empathy to others, yes, to be able to understand different perspectives, all the skills that we mentioned, yes, the methodology is very active, and there's a lot of reflection. And at school, we don't have time for that, to stop and reflect about ourselves, about others, and our relationships, and our goals in life, and et cetera, okay? So we work with individuals, okay, skills. We work in the climate of the classroom and also with the school climate. These are constructs that are very researched. There's a lot, okay? And I just put some of the books. Remember Mary Ellen Mordino Young that I mentioned? Okay. With my husband, we translated her book. And it's called Emotions, Learning, and the Brain. Beautiful book. Not easy, but interesting. And it's called Emociones, Aprendizaje y el Cerebro. Okay? But well, we started with this when I was at the St. Andrews University. Okay? We worked with a group of neuroscientists, and this was the first book, yes, El Cerebro que Aprende, The Brain That Learns. Then I wrote my own book, which I'm going to leave for you, Okay, I brought one. Then well-being, emotions, and learning. I have something written there as well. And this is the latest, that after a program, we worked with the province of Buenos Aires with 2,200 schools. Red de Escuelas de Aprendizaje, it's a network, yes, of many schools, and it was incredible. And one of the areas, it was all in disadvantaged communities, okay, with a lot of needs. And one of the areas that was most incredible, how it changed the school, was working with the school climate, okay? And we trained, yes, a great team of specialists, and the specialist trained the head teacher and 2 teachers in the schools. It was like a domino effect, okay? 2,200 schools, incredible, from kindergarten to secondary. A lot of work during 3 years, but the climate of the schools changed a lot. Okay. Yes, I'm finishing now. 200 schools in the province of Buenos Aires.
We will get to questions. in just a moment.
Olavarría, Etandil, huge province, yes. Matanza, La Matanza, everywhere, okay? No. Just province of Buenos Aires. It was a 10% of the total amount of schools, in state schools in the province of Buenos Aires, okay? Where Maria Eugenia Vidal, she was, yes, the Minister of Education, and Agustina Blanco, she was the head of the one of the areas, but it was a lot of work to get this organized, yes? And I'm finishing, so thank you very much.
Okay, so I know we have a lot of questions. We're also a little bit over on time. So for those who want to ask questions, I'm going to ask you to not preview with a whole lot of discussion, because there are a lot of people who want to talk. So if I can have hands up. Okay, we will start here. We're going to have a lot. Thank you. We have a lot of questions. We have a room full of really talented women who all have ideas.
Thank you. No, I wanted to tell you something that happened last Thursday. I have a grandson that's 8 years old, and his teacher died in class. His teacher fell dead in class, 40 years old. And it's terrible how the school is working with all these children. This thing, I'm very worried about it, and I don't know what's the idea what something like that happens. I've known it ever
Terrible,
happened.
yes. I hope the school can look into it and see how the most important thing is to organize, yes, activities where the children can express what they're feeling, to connect with their feelings, and to accept the feelings. No, it's not only recognizing your feeling, identifying, putting a name, but you also need to accept that feeling is there for some reason, okay? Then investigate means, okay, how that feeling is, what's happening in your body, okay? Okay, but they need to, yes, accept the anger, okay? The anger will fade away eventually with the days, but they need time to be able to express it. The only way you can regulate it if you accept it, if you identify it as anger, and you're able to express it. And that is not only in the school, but in the family as well. They need to come up with opportunities to be able to talk about it. Oh, you're welcome.
Well, hello. Well,
Hi, yes.
Thank you for the lovely presentation. I don't know if it's maybe in your experience, but in mine at school we have already implemented a program that has to do with this, with well-being. But the thing is that what I find is that children in kinder and primary, I mean, just get it and feel motivated to all this of breathing, but not teenagers. We find it very difficult for them to get engaged into this of breathing and just getting to know themselves. So I don't know if you have any suggestions or strategies that you could share with us.
I don't know the program that you're using. It all depends on the amount of time that you're working with them, okay? This is a process. I mean, you have to take it as a process, okay? And adolescents, yes, I've worked with adolescents. You have to find, the ideal thing is that this is embedded in all the different areas, which is difficult in secondary. But one has to be very observant and see where you can fit it in, okay? But you have to train teachers. I don't know if your teachers are trained into this. All of them? Okay? Because this is very important. It's the different situations that come up. You can have a program, yes? And you can say, because we had at school, we had, okay, Fridays, last period, we have, yes, 40 minutes to work with this. But really, I mean, things happen every day at school. And you need to have the tools, yes? You need to have this professional development so that you can handle, yes, and see what to do about it. So this is very important, to embed, okay, social emotional learning in everyday life or school life. And to pick out the teachers, yes, who are more open to this and who accept working with it. And those who are not, don't worry, it'll come. In my school, one teacher was a very difficult teacher. It took her nearly 6 years to understand. When the school closed 2 years ago, she was the one who said, I'm taking all of this to the other school. Good. She understood. It took her some years, but it got there, okay? So you have to be, yes, persist, grit, passion, and determination, and see how many can support this, yes, and plan activities. A lot of belonging activities, yes, for the children to get to know themselves. It's not only about breathing, it's not only about mindfulness. It's put them into, yes, to reflect on their own life and their goals, okay? It's a long way, but you have to start from very young. Yes?
Thank you. As you may see, a lot of questions, so it's a very important issue. Well, don't you think that instead of having a program, settled chronogram, fixed hours for teaching this, in fact, we have been always teaching through emotions. When we said, la sangre con sangre, se aprende, con sangre se aprende las cosas, la letra con sangre entra. In fact, we are using an emotion, fear, a wrong emotion, but an emotion. Yes. So we always taught like that. Yes. Now we are reflecting. But the problem, I think you think the same, is that adults don't have emotional education. Yes. So these programs you are talking about, wouldn't be more important to set at school a program for parents and teachers, and then directly, because these kind of things are taught through example. You are a role model. If adults are a good role model for emotional education, pupils are going to learn, especially teenagers. Teenagers don't listen to teachers, but watch how they behave more than anybody. Because they are reflecting about how they behave. And they are watching them not only in class, in the yard, when you walk alone. Yeah. You watch them, you don't watch them, you take care of them, you don't take care. That was, these emotions are taught through. So don't you think that kind of program is more important?
Christina, yes. Teaching is an emotional profession. It is based on the connection between teachers and students, but also with students among themselves. And if you add these two up, there's a special energy in the classroom, okay, that allows for teaching and learning, okay? The ideal is a holistic approach. That's the ideal, meaning what? The school where I worked at, we had a program for parents. We had a teacher training for teachers whenever we could. You know, here in Argentina, it's not easy to find when and how, but in December, in February, and if we had special days off where we could work together, we trained them there. And it was an ongoing, because what happens? You train a teacher, she leaves, another one comes in, so it's an ongoing process in the school, yes? But there was a culture in the school, and the school was chosen for this, in admission, with adults and the children. Yes, with adults and the children. It's children, adults, teachers, parents, head teachers, okay? Yes, it's an all-around process.
Okay, back
Thank you.
here.
Hi. Just a quick question. In the institutions that have come out and said this is so important that we teach this in the school, have they come up with a way of measuring? I'm thinking like Bhutan. They don't measure GDP in terms of how much money the country earns or the people within the country earns.
But
They
happiness.
rate it on happiness.
Yeah.
Is there something similar that's going on with these programs?
Well,
The
if you,
measurements. is what I
if you are a school, you have to measure, okay? There are different ways to measure this. Depends what you want to measure. Yes, if you want to measure the advance in the acquisition of skills, if you want to measure the school climate, the classroom climate, if you want to measure their well-being, there are different ways that you can go about it, but it all depends which is your starting point and which is your goal as a school.
My idea, or my question really is there a standardized method, like their grades? You have a
No, not in Argentina. No, not in Argentina. The only thing we have now is that these last years they've included in the pruebas aprender, yes, that they take. It's compulsory. They've added an area that has to do with well-being and classroom climate. These are indicators, yes, that schools can see how their school is getting on in terms of well-being and classroom climate, okay? This, yes, in the pruebas aprender, but it's been the last years only that this has been included.
We have one last question back here.
Okay.
Hello. You just said something that for me was very important, that the first thing is to change the culture. If you don't change the culture, you don't change the context, nothing will happen. So for me, what will be helpful is if you can be concrete and just give me an example. How do you enter into a school? Where do you start? What kind of things do you do? That will be...
Do I have an hour or?
No. Let me just tell you, I used to work teaching in Hong Kong, and I used to work with the Board of Education, with guidance counselors and teachers in New York, and trying to change the culture and the context. So that's why I know I haven't been successful, because it's the most difficult thing is to change the culture.
Well,
So
thank you.
that's
yes.
why I need your help with that.
It's a very broad question, but I'll try and be specific. When you work with the culture of the school, yes, one of the main things to have very clear, and this has to do with the skills of the leadership team, okay? They are the ones that take the school, yes, to the vision of the school. So sometimes it's starting with that, which is the vision of our school, okay? Because if we want to have, yes, children that finish school with a purpose in life, yes, with different skills, capacities, competencies, okay, we have to do something about it. But mission, vision, values, that's something that you have to work with. And values are very important. Emotions are embedded in values, okay? But each school has, yes, different learning objectives and different values that they work. So it's having this clear, and sometimes it depends on the leadership team, okay? Because they are the ones guiding, they're the lighthouse. Okay, they're the lighthouse. Now, if they sit down and they agree with this, how are we going to do, yes, to work for that vision of the school? Well, then everything starts connecting, okay? But it's connecting the dots and seeing the opportunities. Sometimes with a program is not enough. You need a teacher training program alongside, yes, a skills program for children. But the team leaders need, yes, to understand that this is important and feel for it, okay? If they support this, the school will start changing, but it takes years. Years, I mean 5 years, 6 years to change the culture of the school. But that's why you have to have grit, passion, and determination.
I
Okay?
believe we
Thank you.
have actually one question from Zoom. Was it Patricia?
Yes.
Gwen. Gwen, please.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'll be brief. But there was a great presentation. There's one emotion I didn't hear about, an emotion that's become a verb, and that is shame. So here in the US, and I think it's everywhere, it's become a verb, shaming. And it's something that happens in social media. It happens in person too. And I think it's terrible because it's one of the most destructive emotions that a child in a school can feel. So I'm sure there's not time now, but I was wondering if there are strategies that have been developed for this, because it's pervasive and it's very detrimental to the self-esteem of children.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And when you design a program, okay, you're not only working with your personal skills, but the social skills. And this is something that needs to be strengthened. The relationship between the students, okay? And, well, you mentioned the digital media, okay? This is something that we're all seeing now that's happening. And you can combine, there are different ways to go about this, okay? You can have another program that works with digital, yes, education, and why not, yes, embedded in the school. You can have another program, like here in Argentina, you have the ESI, which is the sexual education program, which is compulsory for all schools to be working with, and has an area that has to do with affectivity, yes, emotions, so you can work with it there. But I mean, shame is terrible, okay? It's a secondary emotion, okay? It's a feeling, really, yes? It comes up later in life, but it has to do with the relationship with the other. So, and how do you react to that? You need to, of course, if you have a program, but you have a situation in the school that needs to be looked into, yes, and have a deeper understanding, I mean, you need to do something about the program. I mean, if you have to change things, you have to be flexible. This is what the lady was telling us, no? Flexibility, you have to adapt, yes, but the methodology is action, actions on. You have to give them the opportunity to act it out, dramatize it, okay? Come up with a reading. There are so many different resources that you work with at school, okay? But this, we go back to teacher training. The teachers need to be trained, and they need to know what resources are available, and their own resources first. Because sometimes if they don't know how to manage this, they tend to not look into it, okay? And this has to be worked on. You need to incorporate what's happening in schools. You cannot keep teaching maths if there is something happening with your children, okay, as students. You have to stop. You have to stop. If not, this goes, yes, worse and worse and worse. So, but this is only when the school knows that it has to be observing what's going on in the school.
I cannot tell you how much I've learned today. And like I said, I'm the child of an educator, so this has been my entire life. Thank you so much for all of this.
Thank you.
Truly, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
We have a small gift of thanks. We have many artists in our club, one of whom is right here. That would be, oh, she just moved. That was Patricia Caviezel. And she is a watercolorist. And so she has a gift for you. So
I love watercolors.
she
Look how
describes
beautiful.
her,
It's beautiful.
she
Thank
describes
you.
her art as how she feels when she sees something. She said, I'm not
Wow.
representational. This is how I
There she
feel
is.
when I
Thank
see
you.
something.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
This is beautiful. Thank you. I love it. I love it. I'll put it up in my bedroom. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
hope
you.
we see you again. Please come back.
Thank you for your attention and for being
Thank you
here.
all. We will see you all. Here, let me take that for you. We will see you all next month. And I hope to see you all at all of our activities between now and then. Okay, thank you. Thank you.